Guys, Dave and Auken, Taylor, Killer B, Starling, episode 24. We are rolling. I love this. We're like,
I feel like we've been doing this for 5 years.
Crazy,
good or bad.
Crazy. Well, kind of fun. So right now we're doing something we've never done before, really. We literally going on Fight Bananas Facebook Live. So we're doing that. Of course, everyone if you're hearing this or watching this at a different time on the Banana and Beat, on the audio stuff on Apple and of course on YouTube. Of course, subscribe that channel for sure. But yeah, so we usually do it on Monday nights. Life's busy. You've just been training your tail off. You could have shit rolling. You know what I mean? So we'll kind of get into that in a second. But we're recording today. We're going Tuesday morning. We're doing it. We're live.
Yeah, I've been like the biggest pain in the ass. And guy, just so everybody knows, when we have like the delays in the back, like everything, it's all me. Like it has nothing
come
to do
on.
with it.
Come on.
It is all me. I'm like, Dave, I don't feel like doing it today. And then I'm like, but then I don't. I'm like, fuck, we should have recorded today, or we should have whatever.
It happened. It's not just all you. I'm super busy. You're busy. And it's kind of funny. So, we're doing, Jillian's doing My Cuddle. She has her own pod under the Fight Bananas banner. And we kind of contact with like, when we're going to do it. She's like, hey, does Wednesday work? Like tomorrow. I'm like, actually, I think Wednesday I'm going to be at the UFC 273, Jacksonville, Florida. I'm going to be doing media stuff for that. She replies back, you're a big ass deal, dude. And I was like, shut up, Jillian. Come on.
Okay, first of all, how did I not know you were doing that?
Oh, we haven't talked. I know. We've been busy.
What the hell?
Yeah, so it's we probably got some cool stuff going. Yeah, we're gonna be in Jacksonville all week, like the weigh-ins, media days tomorrow, Saturday's the pay-per-view, so it's gonna be good times.
That's such a big deal. I'm so excited for you. That's gonna be so fun. What fight are you most excited for?
Good question. Wow, start off the bat with that. Kind of left field. I think it is the Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns fight. I think that's the fight I'm looking forward to the most. I'm super intrigued about it. Gilbert Burns is like a really big underdog, but he's like, to me, I'm picking Gilbert Burns on the upset on the win. I think he's going to get the job done and win. And Chimaev is like this huge deal. Like
so what is it? You guys know I don't really watch the UFC too much.
Right.
What is it? Peter Yan? Is that his name?
Yeah, Yan versus Starling.
Oh, so what do you think about that one?
I think Jan's going to get the job done. I think Jan is like one of the best lower weight MMA fighters in the world right now. I think he's that good. Really good.
Yeah, that's what I keep seeing. I keep seeing that he's going to win. So I guess that's who I'm for.
The main event kind of is close to you guys. And he's part of one of my notes. The main event is Alexander Volkanovski, and he's fighting the Korean Zombie for the championship, and Volkanovski coached Brian Battle on The Ultimate Fighter. So every time I talk to Brian, he always tells me a good Volkanovski story.
Oh, yeah. He tells us all the time, too, and he just can't say enough good things about him. So definitely Team Volk on that one, just because Brian Battle's the fucking man.
He is the man. So wait, can you say something that you guys are about to do or not yet? You don't want it out there?
No, we can talk about it. Me and Brian Battle, and we have a friend at the gym. We call him E-Man. His name's Emmanuel. But he does his own podcast, and it's called the Push Effect Podcast, and it's great quality. Like
it's dope.
Film, like, everything is so good. The vibe's good. And he actually reached out to me and Brian and was like, would you guys want to do a food show? Like do something on YouTube, like with food. And you already know, I swear to you, every person that I come in contact with, I'm like, somebody do like a wing challenge with me, or like we need to go somewhere to eat something ridiculous and like film it. And everyone's always like, yeah, whatever. So we're going to do a food show. It's going to be called The Cheat Meal, which Brian Battle came up with that name, like genius.
Good name.
Yeah, we'll have guests on every now and then, but I think it'll be fun. Like I think it's a great idea to have us both. Maybe one of us is in fight camp and the other one can eat like shit, and we go and one of us has to sit with the other one, or just when we can both eat bad, or do like hot wing challenges. I really want to do a hot wing challenge, like, and kill it. So
did you see I did that one with Felicia last week?
Yeah, how was that?
So you know this about me, I'm not like the most roller coasters scare me, and hot food I'm vanilla. I'm middle class. I'm a dad. I'm vanilla. So Felicia's like all about it. She's like, hey, I'm going on this wing. Let's do it. So we go for it. The flavors were so good. So we used Melinda's hot wing challenge, like their flavors. They had a black truffle was amazing. They had this garlic pond that was so freaking good, Tay. But when it got to the hot, there was like 5 stars, 5 levels of hotness. When we got to the 4th one, like my body, like it hurt. And then with the fifth one, and we did the dip thing, like he sprayed a little bit on it. And I was like, okay, Felicia, is this much? She's like, damn, that's a lot. It killed me. Like my body, like my throat, we were sweating on scene. It was like, and my body wasn't good for at least 2 days. It was wild.
So did you ever see when I did the hot peanut challenge?
No.
You never saw that? I ate I did a YouTube video. It's an old one. It's in the archives, baby. But I
Let me see that.
I'll have to pass you the link. I did this the world's hottest peanut challenge, and they're 13 million Scoville. And the challenge was you had to eat one and wait 1 minute, then eat the other one, wait a minute, and many as you could in 5 minutes and hold it, and you couldn't eat or drink or get sick or anything within the 5 minutes. Let me tell you, the second the timer ended, I vomited. I had snot and tears just coming down my face while I was holding it, and it was miserable. But you had to wear gloves to pick up the peanuts. You had to wear gloves or it would burn your skin. It was wild. But I want to do a hot wing challenge. I was very jealous.
Jeez, it was a ton of fun. The thing that I kind of did that some people kind of, I guess, called me out on it, but it was what it was. I literally, where her gym is in Orlando, Florida, the Jungle MMA and Fitness, her gym's right there. That's where we taped it, recorded it, literally in the octagon, right across the street. There's a place called Publix, right? Food place. So I got a whipped cream bottle, one of those. So anytime it got too hot, I got the whipped cream and I went right away. I didn't even spend 10 seconds. I was like, shh, I
know your stomach was tore up. Cream and hot wings, heartburn. Yeah. I would have been. I want to do that though. I want to do some kind of competition because I'm very competitive and hot wings. I know that I probably won't enjoy it and I'll be miserable, but I'm so competitive that I would just have to I have to win. I have to eat all the hot wings and do something. Somebody just say, get that strap. All right.
Can we talk about it?
Let's talk about it.
All right. So last week, especially on this show, the Banana Bee podcast, and then a couple of days before that, you had a great call out of Christine Ferea. She is the Bare Knuckle FC female flyweight champion. Legitimate call out, very respectful, but you officially called her out. And then Christine on her social says, hey, I accept Taylor's the undefeated 3-0. She's the only one that makes sense. She fought Britain Hart not once but twice, beat her once but twice. That fight's not going to happen. There's no other name that makes sense. Maybe another name that makes sense to another MMA or another maybe media source. We'll get into that maybe later. I don't know. But you and Christine is the only match that makes sense for bare knuckle. And we, maybe we thought it was happening sooner than later. And now it's just been seems like there's just been ice kind of thrown on that. I guess take it away from that.
Yeah, it's been a very wild it's only been a week or two and this wild. It feels like so much has happened. But I'm just going to let people know what's going on without saying too much. And I don't want anyone getting mad at me or anybody not happy with me, but speaking on this. But they wanted me to come down to Fort Lauderdale and fight. And they wanted me to fight somebody not in bare knuckle that hasn't fought for bare knuckle yet. And, I could have taken that fight and it just didn't make sense to me. And a lot of people, believe in taking an easy fight and getting easy wins and stuff like that. And I feel like I've proved myself. I deserve to fight Christine, and I shouldn't have to be put, I shouldn't have to wait, or you know what I mean? And I understand it's business. I understand. I was actually excited. I was like, okay, shit, I'm going to be fighting April 21st and get one more win or fight one more time before I fight Christine and really do it again. But if it wasn't somebody like Britain Hart or Beck or Paige or Rachel or Jenny Savage or whoever, to me, it just didn't make sense. I understand taking another fight, but if it's someone who's 0-0, I just don't really get that. I want, if I'm going to do that, just give me the belt. That's the only fight that makes sense for me right now. Yeah. And honestly, if they were going to give me one more fight out of the two people, I have to say Britain Hart is a good, would be a good one that everybody, of course, is talking about, wants to see. Paige Van Zant, but really it's not that great. It's only a good fight because of the name. And then Jenny Savage. Jenny Savage is a good storyline for me. But other than that, everybody's got shit going on. What else makes sense for me besides anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even those don't even make sense. Like I'm here for the strap. I'm 3-0. I'm here for the belt. And I declined the fight April 21st because I want to fight for the belt. Now, does that mean I'll be sitting around and they probably won't make it happen? I don't know. But I am the champion in my head, and I spoke as a true champion. I want the belt, and that's what I'm not settling for less.
Dude, I love this. This is why, you know, kind of the origin of this podcast, right? Like, this is it. Like, this is the origin. No one knows these stories other than you. What's the analogy? Like, hearing it from the horse's mouth, right? Like, you are stating facts, stating what's happening behind the scenes that people don't know and don't see. You know, you didn't throw any shade. You didn't throw any, you know, spears at anyone. I thought it was great. That's awesome. Like, that's crazy to hear that from you. Oh my goodness. You're going to love this comment.
If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. That's right.
Dawson, shout out, Dawson, shout out. No, you're so right. Like, it's crazy. That is the only fight to make for the championship is you versus Christine. So if they don't want to make that fight for whatever reason, and they have their own reasons, they're a promotion, they're a company, they're a business. So that's them. But to kind of put you up on also the Fort Lauderdale show, and the kind of like funny, we went back and forth a couple times on it. That fucking show's like 2 weeks away. Like, that thing's around the corner to like have not tape on this opponent. And, you know, you versus Britain would be a money fight. You versus Savage is a, you know, a lot of rivalry, bad blood, legitimate fight. And then it's just like, but like you said, even if those fights, you know, you want a multi-month layout, and wouldn't it make sense if, you know, if you versus Christine happened first and if you became the champion, when you would become the champion, like you versus Britain for the title, that's dope. Like, that's a nice poster. That's a good storyline. To have you fight all these people before the title, it's like, why mess up fights?
Yeah. And
right?
I like a lot of people have come to me and like, for those who don't know the background of fighting and things like that, a lot of people want someone with a perfect record, which I have a perfect record right now. They want someone with a perfect record fighting the champ. They want to build, like in pro boxing, you usually see when someone's fighting for the belt, they have like 10-0, 12-0, things like that. But I just want to either fight someone who with experience, like with good bare knuckle experience, or just fight for the belt. But overall, fight for the belt. I don't want to fight cans, and I'm tired of people coming at me and telling me that I fight cans when that's out of my hands. People don't realize like stuff like that is out of my hands. They come to me and they say, you're going to fight, or we want you to fight this. And if I say no, then it's like, all right, well then you're just not fighting and you're sitting around. And I totally get it. But at the same time, I want to fight for the belt. I deserve to fight for the belt. And this is one of those things I'm putting my foot down on, like belt.
Yeah. And it's like, they say, you know, to ask, kind of throw it out there, get what you want. Like, especially in the UFC, like they always say, if you make a legitimate call out and it makes sense, like the UFC is like, wow, like this guy called out this guy or this girl called out this girl. This makes sense. They make those matchups. Like they make that. And what you and Christine did, you know, like legitimate, you called her out in a good fashion. She accepted in a good fashion. And the funny, they even use those call outs. They put on their socials, and they even put that on their podcast. It was like, why run with it if they're not going to make it? Like, why even, they should have just like drowned it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe a couple other people just got into people's ears saying, you know, maybe she needs one more fight or whatever, but one more fight against somebody who's 0-0 and bare knuckle doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
To fight, like I want to fight the champ. That's it. I don't like, that's just it. And David Feldman, and like I know he said the words on the podcast, like he wants me and Christine to fight. I think, like I said, like maybe someone got in someone's ear, was like, hey, maybe we should do one more, blah blah blah. But Feldman said on the podcast, pins to paper, that's all we need. Christine versus Taylor for the belt. It's the only fight that makes sense. Taylor thinks she has what it takes to beat Christine. Christine wants to fight Taylor. Bam! Why not make it happen? Let's go.
Right. So have you tried to reach out just personally to David Feldman? You tried to call him or message him and say, hey, you know, I heard what you said in the podcast. To me, you know, I'm one, or if not your biggest female superstar. I'm 3-0. I'm undefeated. Did you try to go straight to David Feldman yourself, or no? Because I know there's a lot of politics behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
It's funny because I always get chewed out by everybody, like, stop, don't message them, and don't, like, because I
Yeah.
have a manager and I have Keith and I have everybody, like, to be the middleman. But I'm so impatient that if you tell me something, I'm gonna go nuts until I figure it out. So I actually messaged him the other day and I'm like, hey, like, I heard you kind of might want me to fight April 21st, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, I would like for you to take one more fight. And he was like, but then the belt fight's yours. And I was totally understanding. And then once they kind of mentioned who it would be that I would be fighting and their record and it being a debut and stuff like that, I totally understand building a fighter. But I was like, nah.
Right.
Fight for the belt. But I didn't message him after that. And David Feldman's so cool. He always answers me right away. And
That's good.
I know I drive them nuts. Like, I drive myself nuts. So I know I drive everybody else nuts. I will contact everyone and be like, have you heard? Does anybody know? Does anybody know?
Yeah. That's crazy. All right. So another little fun thing, a little transition in the biz. So finally, like, I think one thing that bare knuckle has, I think they're trying to change, if I could say, they're trying to transition into kind of what the UFC does, into other major organizations and like PFL. On those, there's schedules and there's fight announcements and there's rankings. There's all stuff. There's information on their socials or their website. So forever, bare knuckle, like they had so many other podcasts or fans or other people just like, oh, these are my rankings. And like the fighters were literally like, oh, I'm number 2 in the world. I'm like, dude, you're number 2 in the world from Jack down the street. Like, they're not legitimate rankings. Like, people just ran with them. It was horrible for a long time. So finally, bare knuckle put out their official rankings, and they came up with them. And, it is what it is. Some people like them, some people don't, blah, blah, blah. Wow. Shout out to Eddie Martinez. Shout out.
Eddie.
Best people in the world. So, it's phone. Look at this, the technology on the Banana the Beat podcast. So they have Christine. She's the champ. Understandable. Number 1, Britain Hart, coming in at 4-3 in her record. Number 2 is our Taylor Starling, 3-0. Number 3, Rachel Ostovich, 1-0. Number 4, Jenny Savage, who's 2-1. One of those wins is in the
115.
115, the strawweight division. And then number 5, Pearl Gonzalez, friends of Fight Bananas. And she actually had a really cool tweet. She kind of challenged Rachel Ostovich. She threw that on Twitter and they ran with that. That's I really thought Pearl was done, to be really honest, with bare knuckle, but maybe she wants to do one more. Maybe, you kind of get that feel and get that buzz. So I love that 5 versus 3. That makes a lot of sense. And a lot of people, throwing it out there, thought the Pearl versus Britain fight was really, really close. And a lot of people had Pearl winning that fight. So that makes sense. So what the only fight that makes sense, first of all, between you and me, just honest talk. You ready?
Yeah.
Does it make you a little bit mad that Britain's number 1 at 4-3?
I mean, at first it didn't, because I was like, she's got more fights. She's been there longer. She just fought for the belt, blah, blah, blah. And then the more I kind of started thinking about it, I'm like, I mean, if you think of it, like, I'm the number 1 contender for sure. And I'm 3-0. I have an undefeated record. But then I do see, like, I see both sides of it. But if it's like, if we're going contender wise, who's like, I don't think that Rachel should be above Jenny Savage.
Right. I
don't think that Pearl should be on there. Like, who else was there? I mean, I can't remember Teresa's record or Jade or Crystal Pittman, or like, there's other people that like have more.
Right.
I don't know. It's weird. I'm just like, who am I to say? But
so kind of going forward with this, so they come up with the rankings, and there's no way, like I said, and no shade towards Britain. I think Britain's a really, really good fighter, so I'm not trying to come off at all with shade to Britain. But Britain's 4-3, and she's fought the champion Christine now, not once but twice. Like, she's fought her twice, and usually when you lose to not an opponent not once but twice, like, that fight's not going to happen. Like, that fight makes no sense, right? Like, I don't think I'm talking out of pocket. Like, that fight makes no sense. So it's pretty wild to me that they put her number 1, that you can't have your number 1 contender fight for the title because the fight makes no sense. And you're at number 2 at 3-0. It's just pretty wild. Like, that really caught my eye. Like, when I saw that, I was like, huh. Huh.
Yeah, but I totally understand. Like, I guess maybe it's not more so like who's the contender. Maybe it's like, oh, the fight experience and their record, and she's got more fights than me and more experience. I don't know. Either way, I'm the number one contender, no matter what that fucking list says, no matter what anybody says,
Yeah.
no matter. I don't care. I'm the number one contender, and the world, I feel like, for the most part, knows that shit.
Yeah.
Name
Yeah.
anybody. Drop a name that you think should be fighting for the belt against Christine besides me. None. Okay.
Okay. Like that could be the whole episode. Just us waiting. Like
We'll be
it
sitting here
doesn't
for
make
the
sense.
next 10 minutes. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Also, did you check out the other rankings? Was there a ranking during the guys that a weight class or someone in there that you're like, oh wow, like that caught you off guard, good or bad, or not really?
Hold up your phone and like swipe, and I can like have it.
So
I don't remember
bantamweight rankings,
myself.
featherweight rankings, really, not a name, not a champion. How about
Yeah.
this one? Lightweight rankings. Chad Mendes 1-0, already the
Okay.
number one contender.
Yeah, I don't really I don't really agree with that one too much.
And we love Chad. Like
I love Chad.
You're guys. I think you're legitimate friends with Chad Mendes, and we love Chad. But for him to have one fight and him to be the number one contender is like a lot, right?
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. I think that's the one that caught my eye. I was like, oh shit, Chad Mendes is up there, and then there's.
That's so funny that someone just wrote that into the lightweight rankings. Yeah, like that's what we were talking about. Like there's just a lot of them doesn't make sense.
People like would be shocked to, but it's hard to believe that I don't really keep up with everything.
No, I hear that all the time. Like nothing. Like this is a good topic, and we'll end it with this. I didn't even know that we're literally 25 minutes into it already. It's unbelievable that I talk with so many like UFC fighters, and when I talk to you on the daily about shit, like we talk about kids and we talk about training and we talk about how you're going to do a show at Brian Battle and we talk about like what's going on in your life and stuff.
Yeah.
And same thing with me. Like we don't sit there and talk about Jim Allers or Joe Elmore or Chad Mendes. Like no offense, like those guys are good guys. I talk to them too, but like,
yeah.
It's pretty wild that some people in the UFC, like they're in their own bubble and they're worried about their own career. They don't know what's going on. Sometimes this weekend, I'm talking to Jillian, like there's a big female fight this weekend. And like, we had to kind of like catch up on it. Like a lot of times, like you're training your ass off. Like you don't have time to stop and think about what others are doing.
Exactly. And it's like, actually, I do watch the bare knuckle fight if it's a good card. I love watching the bare knuckle fights. Yeah. But if you sat and asked me if I keep up with everybody's record and who's who and who's beefing with who and who's this and who's that, I don't. The UFC, I will watch the UFC if it's someone I really, really want to watch. Now it's just basically if Brian Battle's fighting or if it's on and I happen to be there. Or like Jillian or Hannah. Like I try to like keep up with that stuff if it's someone that's close to my heart. But yeah, like I don't sit and keep up with all the drama and the tea. I just focus on myself. And even with my like people, like how you asked me about what I thought about the women's rankings, I really didn't even like think of anything other than like I'm next in line for the title. I don't care about anybody else on this list. Like I know that it's me,
Right.
And that's
right.
Really it. And fighting, honestly, like watching the fights and shit, I don't really enjoy it sometimes because I get nervous. Like, it makes me like, I'm like, I have to think about this shit 24/7. I'll watch the card if it's a good card, like I said, for BKFC. But yeah, I don't really like go out of my way above and beyond to like keep track of everything and watch everything and stay on top of it because I've already got so much going on in my head.
Right. You talked about a couple weeks ago when you were cornering Keith down there for Icon, Jorge Masvidal's Icon FC. Like you were like more nervous for that scenario than even your own fights. Like you were just
absolutely. Like. Absolutely. Because it's just fucking wild. Like, and then, especially when you're in person, it's different when I'm fighting. I don't think about anything else. I'm not like, but when I fight, for instance, people watch fights in the back. Like when we're at bare knuckle, like at a bare knuckle event, if there's not a TV with the bare knuckle fights going on as we're back there,
right?
People have them on their phones, and I will literally be like, do not show me any of this shit. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to see it because it's like I'm about to go out there and do that. I don't want to. The last thing I want to hear is like someone's fist like on someone's head. Like I'm gonna just go do it. Like it's weird. It's a weird thing. But yeah, seeing Keith, like watching him get hit and hearing that guy's fist hit Keith's face and Keith kicking him and takedowns, slamming, not being able to like, oh man, it's a lot. And the crowd, like it's a lot for me.
And it's crazy. So I was super lucky that your fight with Hannah Guy down there in Tampa, maybe 4 months ago, whatever it was, like, I was backstage with you guys and just filming stuff and kind of recording you guys. Like, literally, it was all vibe. You guys were just listening to music, especially you guys. You guys were just jiving and dancing. Like, there wasn't any. You guys weren't watching fights. It wasn't about that at all. It was just you doing your thing, just having fun, like kind of getting into that mode, getting into the Killer B mode.
Yeah, it's funny because there will be people that I care about that are fighting on the card that I know, or like someone that I'm just like an acquaintance with or whatever, and I'll be in the back, and when people are watching, I'll be like, oh, well, who won? But I don't want to see it. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to know. And then if I hear someone got knocked out like brutally, I'm like, ugh, like I don't want to hear about that. I'm about to go out there and do that shit. Like, why do I want to sit and like watch it?
I love it. I love it. So, all right, we're gonna roll with this, but I'm gonna surprise you with a. I'm gonna do a swarm on you. All right, you ready?
Oh, okay.
Get ready. Here comes the swarm with Dave Van Auken and Taylor Starling.
We just paid $6,000 for that intro. That was a big one right there. The swarm.
Worth every penny.
5 questions. First answer that comes to your head. You ready?
I'm ready.
What is your favorite new Red Hot Chili Pepper song?
Here Ever After on the new album. So good.
Your favorite color?
Ooh, pink. But I like yellow and black.
Your go-to breakfast meal?
French toast.
Your favorite bare knuckle FC fighter to watch other than yourself?
I know this answer. Yuli Diaz.
I thought you were going to say Uli Diaz off the bat. That's our guy. Uli Diaz is our guy.
100 people came into my head that are like people I've never watched fight before.
And it's funny. This question's funny because you kind of said something about it when you were talking with Christine. When you are going into a fight, would you rather be the bet-in underdog or the bet-in favorite?
I'd rather be the motherfucking underdog.
I knew it.
I'd rather be the motherfucking underdog. I want y'all to win some damn money if you put it on me. Bet the house, baby. Bet the house.
Bet the house. I love it, guys. This was the 24th edition of the Banana and Bee podcast. Killer B, number 2 female flyweight ranked superstar. Number 1 in your hearts and our hearts. Cannot wait. Hey, something happens with Christine, I'd be excited.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna give you a swarm next week. I'm ready. I'm gonna prepare. It's gonna be good.
Hey, come with it. Like, bring the heat.
I'm ready. All right.
Bring the heat like like someone else.
Like the chicken wings? Oh no, your rival.
Yeah, I got a rival now.
Dave's got beef on the internet.
I know, man. I never thought I would have internet beef. Crazy. Me, only old me. But hey, Tay, you're the best. Be good. Have a good week. UFC 273 this weekend. Brian Battle. I can't wait. The cheat meal coming out soon. All right, $10,000 on this outro.
Hey.
Bye.